Hello and welcome back for Module 6 of EDD 811, Assessment and Data-Driven Decision Making. This particular unit focuses this week on practical measurement and assessment in context, key questions and resources. In this week's module, you'll be introduced to practical measurement, which is critically important to the improvement science process that we've been talking about all term long. Specifically, you'll be afforded opportunities to identify necessary data types and units of analysis required to assess the achievement of multiple measures, especially in the context of your problem of practice. The learning activities for this week through our week at a glance really show that we've got several learning objectives in mind that we sort of aim to achieve, and these are listed in Canvas and on the syllabus. Primarily at the end of this week, you should be able to define, explain, and demonstrate a clear understanding of practical measurement tailored to specific educational or organizational contexts. Demonstrate your ability to identify, define, and evaluate the strengths and limits of appropriate metrics or multiple measures that can be used in improvement science. And then finally, to operationalize your theory of improvement by translating conceptual or theoretical frameworks into actionable plans, multiple measures, and clear objectives. And so we'll move through practical measurement. You'll watch a video, do some reading, and then engage in your discussion board forum, which is really focusing on the Ebony Legacy University case study out of the textbook, and then an assignment that allows you to take these principles of practical measurement and apply them to your problem of practice, always in keeping with your theory of improvement. Now, this week in this module, you will be introduced to practical measurement, and also the learning activities will reinforce many of these points as well. You want to take time to complete this week's reading assignments, take some notes about key concepts, main points, and arguments, as well as any questions that really emerge for yourself. And as you're moving through, you want to consider the following. Again, our improvement science working definition as a methodological framework that's undergirded by foundational principles. You want to pay attention to and think about, even as you move through the case study in the discussion board form, these critical questions, these three. What is the exact problem that's attempted to be solved? What change might be introduced to solve it? And how will one know that change is an improvement, that change truly represents an improvement? And this will also have you thinking afresh and anew about operationalizing your theory. So one of the things you're going to talk more about this week as we think about practical measurement is, and our textbook reinforces this, practical measurement operationalizes your theory of improvement. So you have a theory of improvement, but to really put it into practice, it's going to be practice, pun included, pun intended. Practical measurement is your way of operationalizing your theory of improvement. So practical measurement is practical in many ways, several ways. First, it does inform improvement. Two, data collection is embedded in day-to-day work tasks. It's not some add-on that now adds extra work, but rather it's embedded in the day-to-day work task of folks. And it's written in the language of the context. So it is endogenous, it is germane to the context, and it's written or designed with the user in mind. And as we think about this in the context of improvement science, it just affirms for us that data-driven change processes aim to systematically design, test, and implement and scale change toward systemic improvement. Now, click pause on this video and watch the YouTube video called Measures, how you will know that change is an improvement. And then we'll pick up when you're done watching. Enjoy. So hopefully you enjoyed that video. One of the things that comes out of the reading for this week is a focus on the importance of practical measurement, issues of scale, and certainly keeping our eye on improvement science. One is this: we cannot improve at scale what we cannot measure. So therefore, measurement becomes critical to the work that we're doing in improvement science. And improvement then requires measures that operationalize our working theory, that they're specific to the work processes that are the object of our change and they have formative value. Let's talk a little bit about multiple measures. Several important points. One, improvement science addresses problems of practice from a systems perspective. And to truly understand the impact of improvement, then you got to have multiple measures, especially measures of various aspects of the system. So in complex projects, multiple measures are almost always needed to understand the impact of changes on various components of the system and on the system as a whole. So improvement science requires gathering data about these multiple measures, the specific processes targeted for change, intermediate outcomes directly linked to those processes, as well as key markers or the pathway toward achieving the ultimate goal and aim. These become those multiple measures that we're talking about and reading about this week. Quick summary of those would be, and you pick this up in the reading, outcome measures, driver measures, process measures, balancing measures. And in the lesson for this week, I invite you rather to take a deeper dive into this multiple measures applied to practice. As after reading through the week's reading assignment, take time to really study this image of this diagram that highlights how to use practical measurement in improving school context. It's a 6-step workflow that really sheds much needed light on the multiple measures that I just named: outcome, driver, process, and balancing. Check out this website. It's going to introduce you to a case, Vice Principal Terrence's school. And after looking at the image and visiting the website, I want you to take some notes, jot down some notes to these questions. Questions like, what is the problem that Vice Principal Terrence is trying to address? What change is being introduced to address or solve that problem? What multiple measures do they have in mind? And then ultimately, what would success or improvement look like? As you're doing this, you're going to be drawn to some of the information from the textbook, and that is Hess and Fullerton offer 6 conditions for improvement data. One is that accurate collection of basic data is necessary for improvement science. Remember that old adage, garbage in, garbage out. If we're not dealing with good data, we're not going to have good insights and make good decisions. Data must be linked across time and even across data sets so that we have individually identifiable information about our students as they move through and across schools and districts and classrooms, so we can have a fuller understanding of the problem as well as the impact of our intervention on change. Customer service and satisfaction data is pretty important. Data with sufficient granularity that illuminates units and activities even within departments, and then data connected across these content areas so that we can also pick up data in real time. And they offer this triangular sort of model that says you're looking for a situation. We're trying to build situations both in our assessment practice where we have the right data with the right people, therefore informing and making the right decisions. And a quick sort of summary of these practical measurement issues is with outcome measure, these measure outcomes. They're lagging measures that answer the question, did it work? Driver measures are intermediary measures that can be assessed prior to the outcome, and they really focus on the question or answer the question, is it working? Process measures are often measures of fidelity, ensuring process variation is under control, and they answer the question, how is it working? Balancing measures are system vital signs. These are measures that ensure change in one part of the system does not disrupt other functions of the system, and they're critically important to our assessment work. So as you wrap up Module 6, be sure to check out the discussion board form where you're really going to spend some time thinking about this case drawn from the textbook on Ebony Legacy University. You have a set of questions asking about multiple measures. And then the assignment for this week gives you the same opportunity to apply these principles from Vice Principal's case, the discussion board case, now back to your problem of practice. Again, getting you to think about your problem of practice, naming it succinctly, summarizing your theory of improvement, but also identifying appropriate and possible driver, process, outcome, and balancing measures. As you wrap up the week, if you have questions, check out Module 6 in Canvas. Revisit the readings from the week. Check out the video, the textbook, and as always, if you have other questions, reach out to your instructor. Have a good week.